Yeah, guy. Yeah, guy. Yeah, guy. It's a friggin' yeah, guy type of Wednesday here, November 29th. Good morning, David Lee Scales. It's Spit. We're talking all things surf here on the Spit podcast again. Good morning, David.
Speaking of surf, how good and fun have the waves been for how long here in Southern California?
Oh my God. I know I'm pretty surfed out. I mean, it's been mental conditions have just been glassy all day, very light, sort of Santa Ana-ish, blue clear water. Super long northwest, west northwest swell with some southwest swell still thrown in today. There's some little south mix in it. It's been fun, and I'm definitely surfed out and have been enjoying it.
No joke. I feel like every autumn we have this conversation about how this is the best time of year, but it truly is. It's like it's frigid in the morning. If you try to hit it super early, it's cold. But if you go out there after the sun's been up for an hour, it's like the water's not that cold. The air's not that cold. The conditions are perfect. The water is crystal clear. There's kind of been swell after swell. It hasn't been massive. It's been just head high, fun, clean conditions all day, every day. Lightly groomed, A-frame peaks, not that crowded because there's so much swell. That's the other thing is it dissipates the crowd. People get their fill, and it's just been so fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's been a good run of waves, and frankly, it looks like that's going to continue here for a while. It hasn't been anything super huge, anything like El Nino, although it's been pumping huge in Hawaii. They had an incredible day at Waimea Bay. And I was thinking about it when I was actually watching it. It was a couple of days ago. It was like 25 to 30 feet. It was legit, like eddy swell type of Waimea. And I was going, gosh, it's basically Thanksgiving Day and Waimea is already pumping, and so it bodes well for big surf this year, the El Nino year in Hawaii. And of course, Mavericks has had a few days, and I anticipate no one knows. I actually got this question yesterday in the water. Somebody's like, so is the El Nino thing happening? And I was like, look, the El Nino is happening. Whether it spins up surf is a whole nother deal. Like that's yet to be revealed. A lot of times the fuel in the atmosphere will spin up and the jet stream will direct it north into the Aleutians, and it kind of bypasses us just based on the way the atmosphere is running, or the jet stream is running. So we shall see. But El Nino is real. Like it's engaged. It's already here.
Yeah. Well, the swell that you talked about, I think, is the lead story in today's show. Among the many spots that lit up were, like you said, Waimea, Jaws, Mavericks, Honolulu Bay. I saw clips from Honolulu that look insane. The outer reefs of Oahu, which the vlog boys on the North Shore kind of documented really, really thoroughly. It was November 24th, so I think it was the day after Thanksgiving. But
Yeah.
what an incredible opening day for Hawaii. I mean, unreal, and a great reminder of why it is Mecca.
And it was like, like I mentioned, this was a legit massive, massive swell. And it's early season. I mean, more, this type of thing, usually you get it in January, February, but it's already on. So things are looking exciting. And by the way, the week building up to the pipe event, like say December 1st through the 7th, the conditions just look incredible and the swell is pumping. So, and in fact, I think on the opening day of the event, I think it's the December 8th, they'll probably run. Then conditions get a little dicey there in the next couple of days, but it's going to be a fun run, I think, for the Pipeline Masters coming up here.
Well, so let's discuss all things Hawaii. The Eddy, by the way, is scheduled again this year. They dropped this news, I think, maybe a month and a half ago, but December 8th is also the opening ceremony day for the Eddy. So if Pipe runs that day, there'll be two things going on. But opening ceremony, pay tribute to Eddie Aikau, of course, at Waimea Bay. And then December 14th through March 12th is the contest waiting period for the Eddy. They've started sending out those invites. I don't have a list of the invites here today, but you've seen on Instagram people posting that they were invited. Paige Alms, Pete Mel, Luke Shepherdson, of course, tons of the Hawaiian contingent, Eli Olson. And then the Pipe Masters event, we discussed the breakdown of that contest format, which also opens on December 8th. But for me, what I was, I don't know, watching most from that swell was the Outer Reef stuff. I guess we always dodge the name, but Nathan Florence himself said Himalayas in his vlog repeatedly to his 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I think that that opens the floodgates and we can refer to the spot by name at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I sent you I've been sort of torn, like, why are we naming names? Like, why are we naming the spots? Like, what's the upside? Can we all agree that, like, what good does it do? Like, why not just say, yeah, the outer reefs in Hawaii? Like, I mean,
what bad does it do?
part,
Who the heck is going to paddle out there? You know what I mean? Like, if we can name any spot, that's the spot we can name.
I agree. I'm just saying, in general, I was just hoping for like a surf social media embargo on naming names. Like, why are we naming names? And then I think to myself, why do I care? Like, what is my concerns purely selfish? Is it just because I'm hoping that to get some spot uncrowded? And I don't think that's the case, because I'm beyond all of that. Like, I don't really care about that. I don't care about the crowds. I don't know. I guess I do care about the crowds. I'm just wondering, like, and that whole, no conscious thing over there in Africa had me thinking, like, because I know that the argument is, dude, it's too late. That the horses left the barn. It's over. We're just going to name all the names, and I still kind of come back to, but why? Like, why do we have to do that? Like, what is the upside there? And I guess the upside is, well, surf tourism. The people that live there want to make the money, and so let's talk about it. And I think that's valid too.
All right.
Maybe I'm just like a surfers are the worst type of moment here, and I'm catching myself.
So the Africa thing that you just referenced for listeners, Stab and Red Bull are in the middle of their no contest series, season 2, where Ashton Goggins goes around the world. They do a 30-minute piece basically exploring the surf and the culture in that given region. So they did an episode in Morocco and then published an Instagram to promote the episode that showed an incredible lineup, looked uncrowded, and they named the spot. And you sent me a text and you're like, are all the surf mores knocked down at this point? It's just okay to like put these spots on blast. And ultimately, does this make it more crowded or less crowded? Was your question that you posed to me. The answer is yes, it makes it way more crowded. And yes, all the mores are knocked down. Like, it is what it is at this point. And I think you care because you have some nostalgia for the way that things used to be. And back then, not saying the name, you could control kind of the crowds and the access to certain spots. At this point, it's impossible to control. And so there's no point in holding on to the old way of doing it and the angst associated with it. The other thing is there becomes a tipping point, right? Like in Morocco, presumably, I haven't been there, but I watched that no contest series, and I'm just presuming based on what all those local experts said, there's enough waves to go around right now. So by all means, come. It's great. Like, spend your money here instead of spending it elsewhere. We would love to have you. They seem like the nicest people in the world too. But there becomes a turning point where they're going to shut it down. They're going to be like, we are packed to capacity. We don't need any more of this stuff. But the cat's, of course, already been let out of the bag, and you only have that insight with the benefit of hindsight,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do have some, like, I guess nostalgia is how you framed it. But I just feel like even if the cat's out of the bag, like, again, why not? Like, let's just all agree not to name spots. Like, why do we have to name the spot? Why not just say, hey, super fun waves in Africa? It was unreal. Look at these killer points. Like, why? Like, super good waves at outer reefs in Hawaii. Look at these killer photos. Like, why are we actually naming the spots? Like, I get the cat's out of the bag. I'm just saying, can't we be a little bit more general? But then I ask myself, why do I care? Like, why am I even bringing this up on the podcast? You know, and
Well,
I think
who's
it's kind
we?
of selfish, huh?
Who's we? Can we all agree?
We as surf social media, the vloggers, the surf media, Tracks, Stab, Surfer Magazine. It's everybody. It's all of us. It's surfers that are just putting shit out there. You know.
But when you have a private conversation with your buddy and he
Yeah.
goes, "Where was that spot that you surfed?" Or "I want to go to this spot. Where do you think it is?" You're going to name the spot because having a name is helpful for communication purposes and planning purposes, right? So
Southern California. It's pumping in Southern California yesterday. I got some
so ultimately what it comes down to is that granular where you want
Yeah.
to, even with your good buddies, you want to go down, get in your car, drive where they can't see you and surf something perfect by yourself without them.
It's
Because
silly.
maybe that is what it comes
I
down
think
to.
about it. It's kind of silly. Like it's very self-centered, and the bottom line is, you mentioned it early in the show, I've been surfing with very few people at, you know, not the greatest wave around, but a fun wave. And it's been, you know, relatively mellow.
Yeah. Well, I understand the sentiment of everything that you're saying. I think I'm okay at this point. I mean, I'm not 100% okay naming everything because there are certain things that I still hold sacred and secret.
What?
Well, locations, exactly.
Really? Like which one? Like where? Like give me a general. You don't
No,
have to name the spot. Are you saying like mainland Mexico?
no, even just locally, like
Oh,
certain nooks and crannies and sandbars
wait
when
a
they turn
minute.
on that you don't.
Nooks and crannies in Southern California you can't name now.
Well, so honestly, that's what it
There's
comes
a
down to
Surfline
is
cam there.
right off PCH even. But you can't see it from PCH and you don't know which, you can't check every single parking lot. But if you know that that sandbar's on for a couple of weeks, you're not telling people,
Yeah,
right?
you and Roger Hines are at like Huntington Cliffs together or something.
Could be, could be. You'll find out after the fact.
Okay,
But
fair.
I'm helping you make your point. I understand exactly what you're talking about because I still do it on a certain level. But the funny thing is, I bring it back to Hawaii. Himalayas is expert only, and not only expert only, also need a safety crew. You need watercrafts to get out there. Like it is very high level. So the fact that that remains a secret is actually, maybe it's not crazy because even their big expert spots have been so overrun, you know, Waimea, Sunset, that maybe they decided at a certain point, we don't want to also overrun these additional spots. But guess what? It's on YouTube right now, being shown to literally
I'm watching it.
the
Literally
widest
watching
audience possible, with the gatekeepers showcasing it and naming it. So I think officially the cat is out of the bag.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm literally watching Koa Smith right now on.
So Koa's video is great. Nathan Florence, I think, did the most thorough job on that swell. And again, I kind of pat him on the back in a lot of episodes now, but it really is like it's having your friend not only text you from the beach to let you know how the waves are, it's him with a GoPro in selfie mode documenting the experience. A lot of people think that was that Nathan Florence right there, his voice that I just heard. So having Nathan kind of give you that guided tour and then be obviously the most insightful and expert level athlete and all that kind of stuff, I think is kind of gold at the moment. And he did a phenomenal job with this swell. And this swell, by the way, we didn't discuss it, but was under forecast. Like it was not scheduled to be this big. And he did his own readings of everything. And he even gives you this talk at the beginning of the video before sunup as he's driving to the beach. And he's like, look, I was going to go to Jaws. Like we've had these readings before and we go to Jaws. But my concern is that it was going to be a tow day at Jaws. So I made the change of plans and decided to stay home because we want to paddle. We want to push the limits of paddle surfing. And I got to be honest, that's what those guys are doing. When you watch them, we've seen how Jaws can be surfed. We've paddle in. We've seen how Waimea can be surfed paddle in, but seeing that outer reef, seeing Himalayas paddled into, it runs fast. It's just a different wave than those other waves. And it's a left, by the way, big, big left. And seeing the way that those guys are surfing it and figuring out a bottom turn, figuring out how to knife in and pump in the barrel backside on a 10-foot board is totally radical, totally different than anything that we've ever seen.
Yeah, Nathan Florence deserves a Grammy or something, I mean, an Emmy, not a Grammy. He deserves an Emmy.
Who knows? He might be an incredible singer.
Yeah, you never know. It's amazing what they do on these vlogs. And okay, so Himalayas, everybody, it is what it is. We're naming it. It's been named.
He named it. He named it.
Yeah, I didn't name it right. But anyway.
So speaking of crowds, though, I counted there was 13 guys out there, which looked crowded. You know what I mean? That spot's wide enough that I guess you could fit probably more, but 6 skis, 13 guys in 6 skis looked like a little bit of chaos in the lineup to me.
It's funny you mentioned, these guys are pushing the limits of paddling. And in my conversation with Matt George, which is on the Boardroom podcast, he talked about how surfers are the only guys that, well, not the only guys, but surfers went backwards. Like we had Laird Hamilton 25 years ago, we had toe-in surfing. And what did we do? We said, no, let's go backwards. And I actually don't think going backwards is the right phraseology, but we reverted, or we just went back to man versus nature, which is your big thing and my big thing. Man versus nature means paddling in under your own power. And we've done that, and it's kind of an amazing thing. Like, it seems like we're one of the only sports that's gone backwards. And we talked about climbing last week, and I think climbing on some level has kind of said, hey, look, you can go free climbing without any safety nets or whatever. And I guess that's not going backwards. That's just living on the edge. That's man versus nature. Like, why are we taking that queasiness out of it, that sketchiness, that potential for disaster? Why are we taking that out of it? And the fact of the matter is, I think that's part of the allure. That's part of why you and I watch it, and that's part of why they do it, because they know they're living on the edge.
Yeah, it's an interesting diversion or division, I guess, in what's happening. To be curious, if toe surfing never came in, like how much more evolved would paddle surfing be at this point if it all remained on that path of evolution?
Yeah, and that whole moment is kind of interesting. Like, I know that Laird actually did a video called something like something about the crazy train, and it was basically like, hey, it's getting out of hand,
right?
And all of that kind of culminated with, if we can paddle it, we should be paddling it. And if you're towing it and you can't paddle it, you shouldn't be towing it. And that whole moment is interesting.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing to dissect if you watch that Nathan Florence footage at Himalayas, because now with the benefit of the drone angle, you can see them approaching the wave, paddling into the wave. And so the reason why people were towing was because you can't generate enough speed. When the waves are big enough, moving fast enough, you can't generate enough speed under your own paddle power to get into the wave early enough and kind of make that drop fast enough to keep up with the face of the wave. You ultimately just get mowed down by the whitewash. So towing in gave people early access and the speed to be out on the open face. Well, when you watch that drone angle, I guess we had helicopters prior, but the drone angle is a lot more effective, I think, and, omnipresent. So you watch these guys paddling those 10-foot guns, and the other thing is early entry. You cannot get in early with the 10-foot gun. You have to wait until the wave's actually breaking. So then it becomes a race to get to the open face, and that wave runs down the reef pretty quickly. So Nathan, in particular, he knifes into a couple where he doesn't even go to the bottom. He just knifes into the barrel. Now you see him adjusting in the barrel. He's actually like, with every little bump that the board absorbs, he's inching his front foot closer up, further up the deck, because that's how you kind of want to barrel ride. And I've never seen people make those micro adjustments before on the board. So I think that there is probably credit due to John Pizell for that Padillac, because that board seems to be navigating barrels better than any boards that we saw prior. Of course, kudos to Nathan for figuring out how to manipulate that and having the balls to even go on that wave and take that line and then manipulate the board in that way. But the drone tracking every step of it and seeing those micro adjustments is unlike anything that I've seen. And I think that having the footage to review and then take back to the drawing board and make adjustments from is also going to be revolutionary for those guys.
Yeah, these are great points. And I'm watching the drone angle now, and this place is just amazing. It's amazing to see. Of course, Nathan breaks one of those Padillacs on this video vlog, and I urge everyone to go check this out. Nathan Florence, if you're not already a subscriber, God, for goodness sakes, Nathan Florence's vlog is incredible. And you're right, the level of surfing, paddle and surfing in big waves has just gone through the roof because of these guys committing to it, obviously.
Yeah, it's totally gnarly. So among the people that were out that day, Tom Lowe, Jake Mackey, Mark Healy, Koa Rothman. You mentioned Koa Smith. I think he might have been at Waimea that day. At least his video is Waimea. Eli Olsen, who eats it hard on the first wave, and I think that was the only wave that he got. Mike Stewart on a bodyboard gets a bomb out there, which is insane and deserves also kudos.
It looks like a tough wave. It looks like there's quite a few guys not making it. Like there's a section that they kind of go mid-face, and then you got to either commit to it. And a lot of the mid-face moment is, okay, time to not commit to it, go down to the bottom, and they get exploded right there. And so, I don't know if it's tidal, but there's moments when that section opens up, and there's moments when it kind of clamps, and it looks vicious if you get caught on the clamp.
Somebody does navigate a goofy footer. It might have been Koa Rothman. Does get one that he gets more than a pocket ride on, like gets kind of a proper barrel. And so he navigates that perfectly. But
just saw Jake Mackey on one that he pulled into a legit too. But
that's who it was. Yeah, Koa's wasn't really that great, but yeah, it was Jake Mackey's that was insane. So the funny thing is, though, Nathan comes in when he's downloading after the session. He says he only got 2 waves. And I was like, that's so relatable to me. like these swells, even if it's not that big, I find myself just sitting out the back and like being way too picky, getting 2 waves, coming in, wanting to kick myself, going, dude, I saw that kid on the inside sandbar getting freaking 20 waves. I should have just moved in. I should have been in there. I should have been more aggressive. But to hear Nathan say it, I'm like, thank you for saying it, because I beat myself up over that,
Yeah. No, I think we all do,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty amazing.
Well,
this early season swell.
The other thing is Honolulu Bay. I did want to reference. There was a session that went down there. I've seen a number of people that I follow posting their clips from it. Jack, old friend, filmmaker Jack Coleman was there with a little crew documenting it, and he hasn't released any footage yet, but I've seen a couple screen grabs, so I'm looking forward to that. But it was kind of pumping Honolulu. Tosh Tudor was in that group. Taro Watanabe, which you and I have discussed in the past. Tachi Wakita was out there too. Have you surfed Honolulu, and have you gotten it when it's pumping?
I've never surfed there. It's one of those kind of dream waves. I've never surfed there. I've never surfed J Bay as a regular foot. Those are 2 of the best waves in the world. And I've never surfed there, and I don't anticipate ever surfing there, to be honest with you, because it's kind of crowded. You guys were talking about it.
Yeah. Well, look, it's been talked about since the 70s and put on blast, but that is pinnacle on my list, and I forget about it. Like, it's not that it falls out of fashion, it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, there's other spots that are, I don't know, more focused on or in vogue, or when there's this type of swell, there's a bunch of other spots that get lit up and get more limelight. But when I see that wave, that was one of my first waves when I was growing up that I saw in the magazines, that I just thought, this is right out of my notebook when I was sitting in class drawing images. This is the exact image that I was trying to conjure up, and it exists in real life.
Yeah, it's the dream wave, it's the one, and everybody that's ever surfed it is just, it's probably one of the greatest waves in the world when you consider everything, the view, like the surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
the incredible wave itself. I mean, there's an incredible barrel section, and it just looks like a wave that I'll probably never surf. I was actually over in Maui. It was flat, of course, when I was there, but I mean, I'm not against surfing it. It's just not like I'm not going, okay, bucket list, got to go paddle out there no matter what. I'm kind of like, I'd rather go, at this point in my surfing life, I'd rather go surf less crowded waves.
Yeah, that's the problem, is the crowd. And there's other spots nearby, I'm sure, that are phenomenal too. Not as perfect, but definitely good when that is good. So the other thing that started was the Haleiwa Pro, the HIC Haleiwa Pro. It's a 1,000 event, believe it or not. It's only 1,000 points. I think that's the lowest tier on the C, not even the Challenger Series. This is just a QS event.
That's like an event I would be in. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you see guys like, like Mike Latronic might be in that event.
Love Hodel is in
Yeah,
it.
that's my point. Love's a great example.
By the way, this is totally
like Love's grandkids are in that event, and Love's surfing in it, and he's probably got grandkids that are in that event.
This is a total detour, but this is a weird surf fact that you may or may not know.
Yeah.
Love Hodel's, I think, grandfather, not his father, I think it must be his grandfather, is the prime suspect in the Black Dahlia murder in LA.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
You're familiar with that?
No, I really don't even know anything about it.
Okay, well, the Black Dahlia was like this famous murder from like the 30s or 40s or something. They've made movies about it, like Hollywood full, like with A-list celebrities. Mm-hmm. So it's a name, like, a true crime case that is very, very well known and documented and popular, but they never made an arrest in it. And so now, with like modern forensic technology and DNA and all that kind of stuff, they've pinpointed it back to one person who is almost certainly responsible for it, and it's Love Hodel's like grandfather.
Wow, that's kind of gnarly. Are you going to get in trouble for saying this, or is this like widely known? Or
it's not widely. I think if you're into true crime, I mean, how many people are into true crime and surfing? There's probably a small, intersection. But I did listen to a true crime podcast about it, and then I think they interviewed Love, so it's out there. Like, they already named names and all that sort of stuff, but they mentioned the name Hodel, and then one of the kids ended up on Hawaii and was a pro surfer, and I'm like, wait a second. And then I'm pretty sure they even interviewed him for the thing. So it was fascinating.
Well, I've never met Love, and I don't know him, so I don't mean to I'm just, I'm not trying to throw shade at all. I'm just saying a 1,000 HIC event at Haleiwa is like, it's basically like a YMCA event. Like, anybody could be in that thing.
Yeah, but here's what I wanted to point out with that is, where the hell is the Triple Crown? This event, I mean, seeing the surfing in that event, like I saw, oh, there's people in Jersey surfing Haleiwa. Oh, it's early season Hawaii. That means Haleiwa's happening. This is when we used to see the Triple Crown kicking off, and it was substantial, and it was meaningful, and it was exciting. To see only 1,000 points allocated to this event is actually a letdown. It's like a disservice to the spot and to the legacy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally agree. No, it's a complete letdown, considering some of the most masterful competition surfing we've seen out there at Big Haleiwa. It's just such a great competition wave. it's really, I mean, frankly, it's not just mine. It's a lot of people's favorite, it's one of their favorite waves on the North Shore. It's such a fast wave.
It's such a rippable wave. Like, I can't think of a wave in the world that's more rippable and big than that. That's the biggest rippable wave, high performance wave that exists, as far as I know.
Yeah. I do remember being just like the classic Haleiwa, just fresh off the jet in the late 80s, and surfing there a lot because it seemed accessible, which it is.
Yeah, plenty of waves to go around too. So yeah,
Good.
pretty exciting stuff.
Sorry that it's only 1,000. And where is the Triple Crown? Triple Crown's over. I'm watching some Honolulu. I think I'm seeing Tosh Tudor just pull into one. And there are some complete kooks out here at Honolulu Bay. Like, there are some full on, like, but it's crowded. There's guys on stand-ups. It's a whole scene.
Where'd you find that footage?
On YouTube. It's just random surfing Honolulu Bay, November 24th, 2023, raw clips.
Who uploaded it, or who's
Jake Hoagland?
Okay, cool.
He's got 1,000 subscribers.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. I don't know if we're moving away from Hawaii, but there is an update from Tahiti about that tower that we were discussing.
Yes, give me the update on the Olympic Tower, the problems there with the Olympic Tower.
Yeah, did you see Matahi Drole's recent video that he posted 2 days ago?
No.
So Matahi, obviously, we discussed it a month ago. Created a change, or him and his community created a change.org petition to get to basically block this tower from being built. It's a $5 million aluminum tower. They were going to need to create new footings in the reef. Actually, I have the numbers here. 12 new foundations to build this tower, requiring 56 new holes in the reef. And so they got tremendous support through this change.org. Basically, there's already a tower that exists that the judges and everybody else sit in while whenever a contest runs, a wooden tower that currently exists. And it's been there for a decade and a half, maybe 15 years or something like that. It works perfectly fine. But the Olympics want to build this $5 million aluminum tower so that they have air conditioning, better internet, bathrooms, all that sort of stuff, right? So the local community said, no, this is going to harm the environment, the ecosystem, the delicate ecosystem that exists on this reef. We want to keep it pristine. So they got tremendous support in the change.org thing. I figured they would have effectively blocked it because of all of the support and publicity that came out of this. No, they have not. So Matahi gets back on Instagram 2 days ago and he goes, dude, we've been lied to. Like, our local government essentially said that we effectively stopped this. We have not. It's been it's being pushed through against our will. Furthermore, I forget the woman, she's a politician in France, not the president, but high up, came out to do like whatever she was doing in Tahiti and said that she experienced volatility. I think she basically said the situation on the ground is tense. And so the local government told me not to actually go down to the location site, to stay away because it's a little bit too volatile. Matahi goes, dude, we've not had one incident. We've done peaceful protests. There has not been one incident of police, intervention in our protests. It is offensive to say that we're out here like creating problems. So then, No Contest, the Red Bull series, dropped an episode from Tahiti that they filmed months ago, but they and they don't address this tower specifically, but they do address the fact that there's never been hotel development in the area, and there's one restaurant. If you want to go stay there, you have to stay in a homestay, on somebody's property. They're not even Airbnbs. They're not run that way. It's just old school. So the local community takes great pride in it. They go, we have the ultimate wealth. There's no amount of money that you could give us, because if you earned that much money, you would just go try to buy and relocate to a place like this. We're already here. we're going to protect this. We're thinking about our kids and our grandkids. We're going to protect this for the long haul. And so when you hear the way that they've talked about it and how effectively they've prevented things from being paved and from hotels, development, all that sort of stuff, and then you hear what Matahi's talking about with this, it's not just the tower. The government is trying to pave roads. They're trying to pave walkways. They're trying to build walkways out to the tower, that sort of stuff. And so it makes you look behind the curtain a little bit and you go, why is the government pushing this Olympic thing so hard? It might be, why are they building a $5 million tower for 3 days of competition? It probably has nothing to do with the 3 days of competition. It's probably a longer play here, which is, let's develop this, create infrastructure so that we can finally have the tourism and the things that we wanted to do all along. The local community won't let us do it, in small bits, but now the Olympics are coming and we can do it under the guise of the Olympics. But it's very, very fishy that they would do all of this infrastructure building for 3 days of competition. When, by the way, we've done 3 days of competition for years and years and years using the current infrastructure. So something is very fishy.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So all of that reporting you just did there comes from Matahe's take on it. That's his opinion, or is there like deeper reporting on this by like whoever, some sort of journalist?
Matahi does a phenomenal job with this recent clip because he does interview multiple people. He's not the only talking head. He interviews one of the guys who actually built the original tower and the footings for the original tower, and he talks about the structure and how secure it is. He also talks to somebody who builds coral reefs or plants coral reefs and the process involved with that and how it's being eradicated by development, and that's why they're doing these plantings. So he has all these other people, experts chiming in. But what I'm alluding to with the government's true reason for putting all this is my own innuendo and my own surveying of the different things that have been said and trying to, and even Kelly Slater says in the comment on Matahi's thing, he goes, man, something's amiss. Like, it doesn't make sense that they would put all this investment in for 3 days of competition. So I am.
But right now, the idea that they're building more than the scaffolding, like, do we have proof of that? Or the plans that people have seen?
Great question. They do have plans. They will not show the plans to anybody. Matahi and the local community said, okay, let's see the plans for what you guys want to do. They will not share the plans.
And these are Olympic plans, or are these like general, like 20-year community development plans?
They will not reveal that there is a 20-year development plan. They are doing it under the guise of Olympic plans.
They won't show the Olympic plans. We just know that it's at least a tower, and they won't reveal anything else, which is a huge red flag, right?
Correct. And Matahi says this explicitly. He goes, we've submitted 100 requests from different people, formally, informally, for those plans so that we can assess the validity of it, or the impact, the economic, the ecosystem impact. And they will not show the plans. He says, what are you hiding?
Wow. Who's freaking out? Fernando. This is not good. Like, this could just turn into the worst thing that ever happened to Olympic surfing. Like, if there's a huge protest, like a massive island-wide protest where they just don't let surfers out in the water, like, I could, dude, those Tahitian guys are gnarly. Like Arsene and those guys, like, you get that Tahitian Water Patrol and they're all on the same page. By the way, those little cliques, there's, they don't always agree even amongst themselves. But if you get them all on the same page and get them in a mass protest out there and just shut down the the surfing competition, that would be, I hope it doesn't come to that. But if you're already saying, no, we're not showing you our plans, you're setting up some contention here that could boil over and turn into something way bigger than you want. And this would be a huge black eye for Olympic surfing.
I agree. And I could see it coming to that Because
isn't it coming to that? Like, what are the next steps for Matahe and his crew? What are they going to do
it's very much coming to that, because the fact that that France is sending politicians to come down to the site and then go on national news after the fact and be like, I couldn't even get to the site because the protests from the local community are too volatile. That is ridiculous. Now it's becoming a political thing, you know?
Yeah, that almost sounds like BS. They're like, let's spin it this way.
That's what it was.
So that we can, when we do have to start arresting people, we can point back to, hey, this has been happening for 3 months now. Our advisor, our emissary couldn't even access the location back in November.
That's precisely what this was political spin on a massive kind of national news show is what that was. And Matahe even shows the clip and he goes, this is offensive to
France,
us.
Right? It probably didn't show in French Polynesia. It showed in France.
Correct. And so then he's holding accountable his local government, where he's like, you're miscommunicating. Like, we are being lied to. You're telling us one thing, and then you're telling them another thing and giving them approval to say it on the national level. It's a total miscommunication, but not unintentional. It seems to be very intentional at this point, and you won't show us the plans. So I sympathize with local community completely, because they have kept this thing so pristine. You know what I mean? And very effectively, and good for them. There's very few spots in the world that remain this way. And they're also incredibly well educated and well versed in how to foster and that fertile, delicate ecosystem. And so they've been doing a phenomenal job at it. Let them do their job at it. And no contest, not the Olympics, nothing is worth the destruction of that delicate ecosystem. Full stop. We've already destroyed a ton of other ones. They've got this thing here. It's perfect. This is like the perfect little microcosm of the world as it could be if you don't intervene.
Just think if they had never mentioned the spot way back when. If they didn't, look, I'm not saying
great point.
But I'm just fascinated. Like, is the entire surfing community, like the Kelly Slaters, the Nathan Florences, like, are these people willing to get behind this if in fact they feel like it's a cause that's important to them? But I'm like, where's Raymond on this? Like, he's kind of the guy that, where's he, waving the flag? And maybe he's not. Maybe he's keeping quiet. Maybe everyone's concerned about, they know where their bread is buttered, and they're worried about, potential. I don't know, like,
everybody's supportive of this. Everybody's supportive of Matahi's thing. I've seen everybody from Kelly Slater to Felipe Toledo, which is kind of funny because Felipe is probably the last person who wants to compete out there. But everybody is supportive of blocking the development.
So that means that Matahe needs to get a massive PR campaign with all of these people and basically get a video, like, some saying, like, whatever it is, like, they need to get all of these people on the same page.
That's what he's doing. That's exactly what we're discussing.
Well, I know, but I mean on it now, because it's changed. Like, now it's really turned dark. Before people were like, yeah, I'm with you, like thumbs up or whatever. But I'm talking about like a professional campaign that gets everybody, that gets Laird Hamilton, that gets friggin' everybody, that gets, and is this, so am I missing it? Is this already this campaign?
Yes,
but it's not effective.
That's exactly what that I'm talking about. The video that he created. First of all, Laird Hamilton.
I've seen the original video. I've seen the original stuff. I'm saying it seems like it's taken a turn, and now that it's taken a turn, we need to
two days ago, he posted this video that you're talking about, and he got all the professionals that you're talking about. Laird Hamilton, who gives a crap? He's not involved. He got all the community experts professionals, like I said, the guy who built the tower before, the people, everybody, and pulled clips from the news, put it all together. So it's very clear as day. This is that campaign. The change.org petition has 170,000 signatures out of their next goal is 200,000. I think when we first started discussing it, their goal was 30,000. So they're already at 170,000, way over their original goal. So this is picking up speed and momentum and traction. Matahi himself has 200,000 Instagram followers. So the local community, kind of most influential, local community activists are fully behind Matahi. Matahi is the front man doing he's the figurehead, the face who's, delivering the message, but they are all supportive of the message.
Let me ask you this. The French Olympic surfers, where are they on all this?
Great question. They're in this as well. And I can't remember, again, I just watched the no contest series, so I can't remember exactly if Kaiuli Vost and Vahini Fierro were in the Instagram clip or the no contest thing, but they're involved in the process for sure.
I mean, it seems as simple, and nothing simple, and I know it's more nuanced than this, but it seems as simple as the surfers that are competing just saying we're not doing it.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think that's what it could come down to.
Yeah, it's that simple. And then you've got IOC going, okay, well, we're going to put in replacements, and that's going to be like scabs. That's like breaking the union line, and that's not going to be good. Nobody's going to do that. There's no way you're paddling past Arsene Herho and going, yeah, I just decided to put on a jersey,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it honestly could come to that, the way that this is all developing. So I think it's kind of turning into a huge news story.
Now I'm into the Olympics.
I know. Well, I mean, the reality is they can still hold the event there in the current judging tower.
Right. That's all we have to do. It's just
and they have the boat. They have that giant cruise ship boat that can house everybody. That's already a solution that's been implemented. So they're not looking to build a hotel or anything like that, but they are looking to build a tower and also pave some roads that were previous walking
paved
paths.
roads you don't know about. That's just something you came up with.
That's what I think that may have been discussed in the no contest series.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense that they would want to pave roads. Like, that would not surprise me. That seems like infrastructure that if you're going to have an Olympic event, by the way, we need some legit, like 4-lane roads or whatever, which I'm not for. I'm just saying I could see how they would want that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So more as the story develops, we will continue to keep tabs and report on it.
It's like the biggest story in surf, kind of, right? It feels like to me it is. With, we're 7 or 8 months away. This is kind of the biggest story in surf, like something that's going to develop and continue to have legs.
Yeah, I feel that way. Watch that video. I'll send it to you. And just hearing, I mean, it's undeniable.
I'm pretty sure I've already signed the thing, but and I apologize for not getting the full gist of what you were saying, that this is the video where they're all flipping off. I want to see a video where they're all just like flipping off the Olympics, symbols, the flags. Like they got to get pissed. Like, if you're going to do this, let's get pissed.
I disagree completely. Like, hearing the way that Matahi, he is the ultimate ambassador for the community.
Yeah.
Like, in him taking offense by the way that the French politician spun the story was beautiful, because it's like, you're right, that is offensive, and you guys have done this job delicately and beautifully. Like, there's no reason to intentionally try to offend. We're here to protect, is what we're here for.
Any commentary at all from the ISA people, the International Surfing Association, which is the governing sport?
I haven't seen anything.
Body?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Wonder where they are. They're the ones that, to me, are noticeably absent from this discussion.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're like, whoop, nothing to see here, man.
They might be. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what their actual thoughts would be. I have a must-see moment, a couple of must-see moments, and a Duke, actually, if you're interested.
Yeah. Bring it on.
Did you watch? I have a feeling the answer is no, but did you watch the Jai the Jai Glendeman new clip Glitch, his 10-minute short film?
I did not.
Do you know who Jai Glendeman is?
I do. I believe him to be an Australian, and I have seen him surf before.
Yeah, regular footer, super stylish regular footer, Australian, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch his clip because he surfs, his style is just really, really cool. Kind of reminds me of Taro in that riding pointy thrusters, but super stylish, right?
Right.
I go to watch the clip. It's 10 minutes long. I find myself 3 minutes into it going, I think small tidbits of Jai are the best. Like filling a 10-minute surf clip, it is a long time actually, if it's just going to be high performance ripping with no storyline. And it's one thing if it's, Russell Bierke doing a diversity.
Holy shit. That's the must-see moment.
That's kind of the one, that I watch Jai and I go, wow, he's stylish and he's doing a bottom turn and a top turn over and over and over and over again. And it's like, it's sick, but it's not as sick as John's, and then if he's not going to be blowing the fins out and going into some crazy like club sandwich type turn that Taro was doing, it's not as good as Taro. So if you've got the bottom turn and the knock knee carve to go with it, maybe just do one clip at a time on Instagram. That has kept me engaged up until now. And now that you're delivering 10 minutes of it, oh man, I'm withdrawing. Let's play some Russell Bierke.
Holy shit. So Russell's stab edit of the year, it's called Outermost Edge of Leisure. It's insane. And you hear this often. You hear like, drop the mic, just give him the money. He's the winner. And I'm saying it right now, in my opinion, that's without even seeing the other ones. Like, I don't even need to see the other ones. Russell Bierke's stab edit of the year should be the winning edit. It's insane. And I know you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I have. And the one kind of caveat that I would add to that is it's
Guy Glendeman's not in it.
Yeah, it's not as diverse as like Cale Walsh's. Like Cale Walsh is surfing giant barrels and doing massive full rotation airs, right? Russell Bierke is surfing gurgling crazy waves that almost don't even qualify as what you and I do as surfing. Like it's a totally different thing, and it is insane. And it's like I'm a huge fan, but there's not enough diversity in his surfing to maybe give him the the edit of the year.
Well, that's what has to happen. You have to have a fully diverse clip, an edit that has everything for you to be like, okay, it qualifies. In other words, there's these little things, check marks that need to be checked off for David to be, okay, yeah, it qualifies. And one of those is a guy that can just bust incredible airs.
At
and
the end of the year,
that, your clip isn't worthy. Don't even submit it.
It's worthy of submission. It's just not worthy to win. Like when you survey all of them at the end of the year, you go, man, Cale Walsh was not only getting huge, crazy tubes similar to Russell Bierke, but then he's doing massive full rotation airs, Yeah,
but to me, massive full rotation airs these days they don't hold the weight that they used to.
Well, they're more massive now than they used to be. We're not talking about at a beach break. We're talking about like coming out of the barrel at North Point, coming out of a massive tube at North Point, and then doing a full rote alley-oop.
That's pretty incredible. There's no doubt. I hear you. I guess I'm not completely biting on the hook of we have to have that to be a winner. When I'm seeing stuff that, and I'm not saying I know Cale Walsh could surf these waves, but it's more about the commitment that Russell makes to this type of surfing. It's more about Russell would be doing this with or without a camera.
Yeah.
It's more about the way he's toying with these waves. I mean, it's more about his comfort level in this type of surf. There's just a lot here to digest. This isn't just, oh, we totally scored. You got to see this edit. This is amazing. It's more like it's a notch above.
It is. Yeah. I mean, look, I mentioned Cale Walsh is also surfing big barreling waves. Not to the degree of intensity and difficulty that Russell Bierke is. So ultimately it does come down to what you're talking about, which is this more gnarly than the gnarly things that he was doing, you know? And I feel like Russell's is hard to argue with. Russell is that much gnarlier than what anybody else is doing.
And the edit itself, the music is incredible. This basically, it's just like jazz drumming. That's just different, right? It's different, which is unique. The slow motion is intense. Like usually I'm bored sick of slow motion, but not in these, because it's like, what's coming next? Oh, another gurgling section, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot more. I mean, the production, you know, they got incredible footage and then they produced it so fantastically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shout out to Stab too for doing these edit of the year things throughout the year and giving kind of showing a spotlight on the edits that stand out, because there is so much white noise of content being produced that it's nice to have somebody trying to curate it at least and point to the ones that are worth spending the time watching. My Duke this week, somebody tagged us in Instagram on a post of Gary Linden, 74-year-old Gary Linden, surfing Toto Santos on this last swell that we were discussing and just getting an absolute paddle in bomb. He's midway down the face at Toto's, like fully extended, looks like he's riding a balsa gun that, certainly he shaped. 74 years old, still charging it. It's like a 40-foot wave.
That's insane. That's Guinness Book of World Records level shit. Like, that's amazing that he's 74 years old. He's riding massive Totos, which is, and it's not an easy wave. It's scary. It's mean. It's cold. Gary Linden's amazing, and he deserves all the kudos that he already gets, but he deserves more. Like, isn't this a Guinness Book of World Records? Isn't this the largest wave by a man over 70 years old? I think so. You know what I mean?
Undeniably.
Come on. This is insane. This is so great.
Undeniably.
Hats off. Hats off to Gary Linden. That guy, nobody can match what he's doing. Are you kidding me?
Well, a couple of years, maybe 2 years ago, I was like, man, this is the year of the 50-year-old. You had Kelly winning pipe. You had Tom Curran producing Free Scrubber that year. You had Pete Mel getting that wave at Mavericks. Again, Mike Ho, actually in his 60s, getting that wave at Backdoor. It was just like this kind of succession of the best moments in surfing were all from dudes who are over 50. Gary just one-upped them. There's only one person over 70 doing anything like this, and it's Gary Linden. Like, it's insane.
That is so great. I am so stoked for Gary. He's the greatest guy. He's such a good guy. Wow, it truly is amazing. Like, I'm at a lack for words trying to be 74 years old and to be even able to get to your feet. There's very few 74-year-olds who can even get to their feet. But to do it on a self-shaped surfboard in 30-foot waves, on an island off the coast of Mexico, it's just incredible.
It really is. He's committed to that spot, by the way. So that's right. A testament to probably 50 years of experience surfing out there, putting in his time. But yeah, Gary, one of the details, getting to your feet, one of the things that I've seen, I interview a lot of obviously older surfers, and I kind of ask them about their diet and exercise and how they maintain longevity. And body weight is a huge disadvantage. Like, gaining weight as you get older wears on your joints, wears on your entire body, wears on your cardio. Gary Linden is lithe, lightweight, small frame, and I think all of that has been an intentional decision, what he puts in his body and all that kind of stuff, so that he can continue to do what he loves doing in terms of surfing into his 70s. Like, that's all been part of his program.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're spot on there. We got to keep a thin frame.
Exactly. Put in the work in your 30s, 40s, 50s so that you can do it into your 70s.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Sweet, man. Well, let's give a shout out. Trees Wax, our favorite petroleum-free surf wax, is what I've been using during this last run of beautiful autumn combo swell. Trees Wax is available on treeswax.com. It is a petroleum-free surf wax. You can also grab it at Atacama in San Diego, in flight in Seal Beach, and man, in Morro Bay. I don't know the name of this shop. I see the stickers all the time. Is it Ziam?
As high as I am?
As high as I am. Is that what it is?
I think it is. I think it's, I'm assuming, I might be wrong, but I thought it was as high as I am.
That's got to be what it is now that you say it out loud. I just see the stickers and I'm like, as a Kayam, as a Ziam, as a Ziam, as high as I am. That's exactly what it is. It's AZIAZIAM. That's how it's spelled for listeners who haven't seen that before.
Well, look, wax is, it's performance-based, super sticky wax that's great for Mother Earth. So it's as cliche as this might sound, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Check it out, treeswax.com. Cool, Scott.
Well, look, we've said a lot. Until next week, David, adios and aloha.